Alright guys, I just started up this Ghostwire Tokyo on the GTX 1060, and I'm so curious what kind of performance we end up getting. Because the system requirements say that the 1060 should be getting 30 FPS at 720p. Well, currently we're doing a lot better than that. We're at 1080p, and I just went with the default settings. It doesn't seem like there's any kind of preset graphics options, so we'll have to change them individually if we change them. But I'll show you what we got. It's mostly up fairly high. Not everything completely maxed out. Obviously no ray tracing on my 1060. But we don't currently have FSR on, or the temporal super resolution, which is a very good quality temporal upscaler, and we'll probably play with that shortly, and maybe compare it to FSR. But right now, I mean, yeah, we're not at 60 FPS, but at least in this scene, we're doing way better than 30. And we are at 1080p, not 720p. So it seems like these system requirements may have been overstated. Although, it does seem like there's a lot of little DirectX 12 related stutters going on the frame time graph. I also didn't notice any, what do you call it, shader caching that a lot of games do at the beginning. Like, I just benchmarked Tina's, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands as well. And that game starts out with a shader compilation, shader caching. And I think that's what DX12 games should do. And this one did not. Let's go ahead and see how a little bit of a cutscene does here. It's a bunch of floating garbage is what it looks like to me. So, this doesn't seem to be pre-rendered cutscenes. It does seem to be in the engine. Okay, we can absorb powers. Okay, well, you know what? We're just benchmarking things, so I'll pretend I actually read and understood all of that. But what I'd like to do is see if we can get this up to 60 FPS, maybe by trying out either FSR or the TSR. So I'm curious. So it looks like they went with presets along the lines of, you know, FSR and DLSS in terms of the quality settings. So let's try out the UltraQuality TSR and see if that can get us closer to a full 60 FPS. Wow, the, you know, we're not at exactly 60, but it's pretty close. There's, you know, it looks very good to my eye. I'm curious. I want to go turn it off again, looking at this more interesting scene, just to compare, so we can, and you guys can jump back and forth in the YouTube video. Okay, that's the native resolution, and we're at 48 FPS. You know, lock that into your brain. Let's go ahead and jump forward a bit. And UltraQuality. That looks very, very close to native. So let's go ahead and play on this for a little while. Seems to be getting us close to 60 FPS. Very, very playable. Let's see what happens when we go in the building. Yeah, inside the building seems even better, actually. Alright, looks like we get a bit of a cutscene. Okay, performance is dipping a lot lower in the cutscene, but I'm not going to be too worried if cutscenes dip, because, I mean, it's a cutscene. We're not actually playing. Mid-40s in a cutscene seems absolutely fine. He seems to have a problem with his eye. Maybe you should get more sleep. Seems to have something wrong with his hand as well. Guys, something tells me this man is not in the best of health. Okay, so yeah, we're definitely still below 60 FPS, even with the TSR enabled. I am going to try out... We're gonna lower the subsurface scattering and the screen space reflections. And we're gonna take the global illumination down to, well, yeah, let's leave it where it was. So we're turning some settings down just a little bit. Wow, that actually did not seem to help at all. Interesting. Quick purge. It's alright. Seems like we're 60 FPS now. Okay, whatever, bro. I don't want to learn spirit skills. I just want to play the game and benchmark for you guys. Okay, I'll learn the thing. How do I learn the thing? Shift. Enter, hold, learn thing. Alright guys, we learned a thing. What does it do? We wave our hands or something. Yeah, still not locked to 60 FPS, dropping to 50 here. So I mean, it does look like the game was accurate that we would not be, because remember, we're temporal upscaling. This is actually below 1080p, and I did turn some settings down. Charge attack, dropping into the 40s with all these effects on screen. Achievement unlocked. Yep. Despite being below 60 FPS a lot of the time, it still feels fine on my variable refresh rate screen. So, I don't think you should be scared of getting the game if you're on a 1060. Definitely seems playable. At least in this section. I don't know if later on maybe there'll be more demanding areas of the game. Let's change up some graphics settings. So how about, instead of trying TSR, well actually how about we take TSR down to the quality setting. So this is now going to be well below 1080p. And remember, we've already got some settings kind of tweaked down to medium basically. Let's take motion blur down to medium as well. Honestly, we could just turn it off. Okay, now it looks like we're over 60 FPS with the TSR on quality. Definitely seems like there's more obvious differences from the native image. Let's compare it to native real quick. So, you know, look at the little fine details in the distance especially, and let's see if they get sharper if we switch to native. But overall, so far I'm very impressed with this upscaler. it does seem to look quite good. But yeah, I do think we get more resolution there in the distance. Maybe look at the writing on this wall. So that's the native resolution. You could see little bits of the writing on the posters and such. Let's jump down to TSR, go back to that quality setting. You know, it's really doesn't look too bad. It's certainly not native, but we are getting a large performance bump. I mean, this light and stuff does look a bit fuzzy. Let's keep playing on these settings though for a little bit. Okay. We're just gonna hang out in the kitchen, guys. Can we make breakfast? Does this game have that? I'm a little bit hungry. No? Can't make breakfast? Oh well. Let's keep going. Oh, we're still dipping into the 40s. Even at the quality settings. Sorry, TSR quality. Well, that's not creepy at all. Find some crystals and fill back up. How's Mari doing? I don't think she's supposed to be made out of fire. Guess she's not doing too well. Alright, so what I'd like to do next is compare how FSR looks in this game. So let's go ahead and try out FSR at the UltraQuality setting. Definitely to get a different look from the spatial upscaler, and it seems to have a little more sharpening to it to my eye. Let's also compare that to the native image. So turning FSR off. Yeah, and 53 FPS with the native image in this scene. And let's go with the FSR to UltraQuality one more time. It gets us all the way up to 75. So you're getting quite a performance boost from the FSR UltraQuality, that's for sure. I can definitely tell we're not at native 1080p though. FSR at 1080p does look a little bit on the blurry side of things. Cutscene dipping into the 40s, I don't really mind. Okay. This seems totally normal. This is fine. Uh-huh. Frame rate seems good here. His plan's complete. Well, good for him. There is another. There's our little helper. Alright guys, I don't want to just benchmark cutscenes, so we are going to skip there. So if you're interested in the story to the game, feel free to, you know, get the game. So far, it at least seems interesting. Alright, we get to ride in an elevator. Very exciting. Alright, well, with FSR, performance does seem good. Let's see what happens when we go outside. Hey, achievement unlocked, guys. Did I beat the first mission? Look at me go. Alright, Chapter 2, Trouble. Again, cutscenes are definitely dipping below 60 even with FSR. I'm gonna go ahead and skip forward a bit here. Alright, so out in the city environment again. With FSR, we're able to hold around 60 FPS. Alright, so let's go back to native resolution. It definitely looks like as long as we're willing to use some upscaling techniques that we are able to get good frame rates. But what if we're at native resolution? Yeah, definitely into the mid-40s. So I think the next question is, how do we get out of the fog? But the question we have after that is, what if we just turn everything down but leave it at the native resolution? So what if we go motion blur off, SS quality off, SSR quality, let's go down to low, global illumination off, shadow quality low. I think that's about as low as we can set everything, guys. Let's see what that does to our frame rate. Alright, so now we are staying above 60 FPS. Well, maybe not. Pretty close. But with everything turned down to low. Or off. So it does look like you could stay at the native resolution if you need to. But you gotta turn things down. Take them out. Wait, why is my oh, because I don't have crystals. How do I get the crystals, guys? I skipped all the tutorials. Does this thing have crystals in it? What do the buttons do? Help. Perfect block. Okay. Guys, how do I get more of the energy for fighting? I don't know how to do it. Is this where we end the video because I skipped the tutorials and I don't know what the buttons do? How to get a crystal-y thingy? Oh wait, there was there it is. Q. Q was melee attack. I think that gets me these energy crystals, and then I throw them at the guys. I wanted to see if in combat here at low settings we can at least hold 60 FPS. It does look like we can. Alright, so we'll end it with a death, and I'll say that was intentional and not that I just don't know how to play this game. Hopefully this was useful. I think what we've concluded is that you absolutely can play the game at 1080p 60 FPS with things turned down to low, unless the graphics get a lot more demanding at some other point in the game, which I just don't have time to test in this video. Definitely be testing this game out with ray tracing and all that on some other graphics cards, and stay tuned. I hope all of you have an excellent day.